homeboy been talking about Joe Biden and things of that nature. So what I'm gonna start doing is I got a homegirl that told me I need to start going live. And she said the ancestors told her that I basically need to start going live. So that's what I'm gonna start doing. I was planning on going live, so I'm gonna start this off with Joe Biden, and I'm also start with the progression of the movements that I'm making in my life. I want to show that because we basically we got things to do. So I'm trying to do multiple things at once. So let me play this. I'm gonna play some of this audio.
Under the age of 30, not because they'll be voting for Trump, but because they won't vote at all. I myself have had this exact same conflict. So my question for you then is, besides you ain't black, what do you have to say to young black voters who see voting for you as further participation?
Now we're gonna break this down.
Continually fails to protect them.
Well, I say, first of all, as my buddy John Lewis said, it's a sacred opportunity to right to vote. It can make a difference if young black women and men vote.
His buddy John Lewis. So in the beginning, he pulled a I have a black friend. That's the way I seen it. That might not be how you see it. I got a black friend.
You can determine the outcome of this election. Not a joke. You can do that. And the next question.
Admit that the American Africans can determine the outcome of the election. Admitting. That's admit. You know what I mean? So saying that you have some power to do this. Now, I'm gonna also, we're gonna keep going, and I want to pull up to black men and how these words don't seem to be lining up.
Am I worthy of your vote? Can I earn your vote? And the answer is there's two things I think that I care, and I've demonstrated I care about my whole career. One is, in addition to dealing with a criminal justice system to make it fair and make it more decent, we have to be able to put black Americans in a position to be able to gain wealth, generate wealth.
Now, he said he wanted the criminal justice system make it fair and make it decent. Let's play that again.
The criminal justice system to make it fair and make it more decent, we have to be able to put black is, in addition to dealing with a criminal justice system to make it fair and make it more decent, we have to be able.
So how do you make the criminal justice system fair? Let's talk about that. I mean, it was a lot of stuff spoke here, but let's talk about how can you make the criminal justice system fair and make it more decent. So would that mean if it's going to be fair and you're going to prosecute, it's not saying that you have to stop prosecuting American Africans at the rate you are. You're just going to have to start prosecuting other races and nationalities at that same rate to make it fair. So right now, if anybody, can y'all please post up a white guy that got gang enhancement charges? Now, black people aren't the only ones in gangs. Post a white guy. Rush to Capitol is going to be prosecuted. Personally, now why she's, I don't know. But anyway, I don't think they're going to be prosecuted. And to me, that don't even matter. You know what I mean? Oh, somebody behind. Man, these people are crazy. But anyway, let's keep going. I'm on this freeway, and it's a lot going on. So let me go to this. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, black man. So I'm gonna go to this. This is their campaign site. Biden Harris. And there's one particular, reforming the criminal justice. It says creating a national standard on use of force for law enforcement, comma. Creating a national standard for use of force. And I was talking to one of my homeboys, and he was like, man, when I heard that, and I had to go back and really read that again, and I see exactly what you're saying. They're creating a standard of the way they using force, not stopping the force being used. A standard for the way they use it. All right. It says in incarceration for drug use alone. In incarceration for drug use alone. Why are they doing that? Are they doing it because the opioid crisis that hit white America? Because they damn sure didn't do white America with the opioid crisis like they did black America with the crack crisis, right? All right. It says, and support automatic record sealing for nonviolent crimes. Automatic record sealing for nonviolent crimes. Okay. Well, let's go down a little bit more. I'm gonna try to read this one before we go back in. Expand education opportunities, protect voting rights of black men, address injustice that impact the black communities. Oh, it's a lot of injustice that impact our communities. We're not gonna go there. See, I could do, man, I could, oh my God, Trump has failed black men. I could keep going on and on just on this alone. I could do tons of videos just on this. Violence, hold on. All right, so it's up here somewhere, but you know what? As a matter of fact, it was about businesses. And I had put, creating jobs, expanding healthcare, but it basically was about creating businesses. It started off talking about African Americans, and then it switched to minorities. Just that alone, switching it from, they're using a wordplay. Let's keep going.
Put black Americans to be able to gain wealth, generate wealth. And so you look at what that entails. It entails everything from early education. That's why I'm.
So now they talking about the wealth generation and how they're going to be helping us gain wealth. So I was talking to one of my homeboys about this situation, and I talked to him about red line. He said, "But you could buy houses now." I don't think you truly understand about buying houses now and being able to go buy houses now. They're not going to give us at 0% interest. We need 0% interest. We need grants. We don't need them to let me get in front of this guy. We don't need them to say, okay, well, we're going to give you, you'll be able to get the loan. No, that's not what we need. Not just get the loan. We need grants. The reason why grants, because everybody else got a leg up. It's basically like you playing Monopoly, and while playing Monopoly, everybody else got to go around the board, collect $200 when you was only able to collect 50, and then they was able to buy property when you wasn't able to buy property. Redlining. This is basically what happened. So let's keep going.
Making sure that we entitle schools, as you know, schools with the least tax base to be able to support their schools. I agree.
Schools with the least tax base. Now, how is it possible certain schools have the least tax base? You know what? I'm gonna have to go do some research on that and try to figure out how these schools, how do they go about deciding on schools and the funding for schools and how schools get funded. They can't say because of the property tax in the area, because you could go to the area that's where it's densely populated and those schools are underfunded, where the population is dense. Then you can go to schools where the population isn't as dense and they got great funding. So we got to figure that out. From 15 to 45.
We're short about a million.
Teachers. That's a big jump.
Teachers. Number two, every 3, 4, and 5-year-old go to school, not daycare school.
All right. Every 3 to 4, 5-year-old go to school. Now people are like, see, yeah, that's cool. That's not necessarily good when you teaching a curriculum that we don't agree with. I had a conversation with a woman last night, and she was upset that I said that white supremacy is using a homosexual agenda for genocidal purposes. That person down the street is gay, and you saying they connected to the white supremacy. That's not what I said. I didn't say homosexuality is white supremacy. I said white supremacy is using a homosexual agenda. And you see, some people just don't have education and understanding of words and direction, don't do enough studying.
Including what you've gone to, go to, or went to. In fact, talks about in the last 8 years what's happened. What happens when you let them go to school? They make up rapidly that whatever failed, whatever shortcoming they had in terms of their education prior to that. They will have not heard as many words.
So also, when you try to put it on education, bullshit. My great grandfather had a second grade education, didn't know how to read the Bible. He memorized the Bible from listening to audio tapes. You feel me? And raised 17 children with a second grade education. Don't give me that. We in a system to where our great grandparents and our great grandparents was able to get out of elementary and go make a living for their family. But now this system now, if you don't have a certain education, you can't feed your family. That we're not going to give you the job when jobs are going on overseas. But the United States of America was already projected to be the first deindustrialized first world nation. They deindustrializing like crazy. They got companies shutting down in inner cities where black people are. I've been at 2 companies that was majority black that shut down. Not because they wasn't making numbers. It's just because they consolidated and they moved to work into other areas that it wasn't so black.
Spoken, et cetera, et cetera. What happens is that the studies show that 58% will increase by 58% their chance of going all through 12 years of school and going through successfully. Also provide for the ability to bring in social workers and school psychologists. We have 1 school psychologist in America.
To bring in social workers. See, that right there. Where are you going to bring them in from? If we're talking about boosting the black community, you didn't say start to develop a program to be able to develop social workers within that community. It's a difference when you developing social workers versus bringing in social workers. It's a total different thing. If you feel like you need more social workers, then a social worker program should be set in place to produce social workers out of that community. If you want to build that community up.
Now for every 1,507 kids, it should be 1 to 500, not just in schools that are poor, but in all schools. Because we learned that, for example, drug abuse does.
Schools that are poor. Why do poor schools even exist? Why do they exist? That's what I asked this question. Good school, bad school. You have a good cop, bad cop, right? A criminal is a bad guy, but a good citizen, bad citizen. A bad citizen would be a criminal, right? So how do you have a bad school? Are they criminals? Do schools rob people? How do you have a bad school? What is a bad school? What are they doing for bad schools, period, to put all schools on equal footing?
Cause mental illness causes drug abuse. The failure.
All right. So before the camera went out, they're talking about HBCUs, and they want basically so they can have the wherewithal to do.
These can do because they don't have the kind of foundational support they need, and so that would allow them, for example.
So off top, he already known that HBCUs don't have the foundational support that they need. This ain't the first president that knows that. Congress know, everybody knows that place. They know that. But we are under attack. Our community been under attack. And if you think that this guy is going to get in there and change that, you're foolish.
Like we did in our administration, the president allowed me to go down and we awarded a cybersecurity laboratory, the ability to compete for a cybersecurity laboratory. The federal government spends billions of dollars a year on universities because they're the best kept secret of where most of the major inventions come out of. And so that school now will be able to produce young black women and men who are going to go into a field of the future that's burgeoning, cybersecurity.
All right. Young black men and women get to go in the field that's burgeoning, cybersecurity. All right. Let's talk about cybersecurity. Brother Amos N. Wilson say that why is it that we have more black administration and brothers and sisters that's graduating out of school with business degrees and less black businesses? Because we are being taught how to solve European problems and not solve our problems. So what? You get a motherfucking job in security. A job in cybersecurity doesn't mean that you're going to control cybersecurity. It don't mean that. It means you get to get a job. It means that you could still be fired. Not that we're going to open up a sector. All right, here we go again.
If you're a young man about to graduate, or you graduated from school and you want to own your first home, well, it's awful hard to get the money, depending on the background. What's your at?
It's awful hard to get the money. Why is it awful hard? They got houses all across America. But for black people, it's awful hard to get the money. Why do the American Africans, why is it so hard for American Africans? Because there's a system that makes it hard. This is known. During campaigning, this is talked about. There's nothing been done.
Your economic background is to get a down payment. So we're going to guarantee first-term home buyers a $15,000 down payment for first-term home buyers. In addition to that, what all the studies now show, and I've been arguing this for a long time, is young black entrepreneurs are just as successful as white entrepreneurs or anyone else. Give it a shot.
Given a shot, just as successful. I'm going to end this here because this thing had cut off on me twice. I can't stand this. But anyway, yeah, so there's a lot that's known about us in our community. They understand this, but they're not serious about fixing it. And priority, when he got in, let me show you. When he got in, priority was immigration. How on a first day your priority is immigration? You know the black community got all these problems, but your priority is immigration. You gotta think about that. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut. Y'all stay safe. I'll talk to people.